This is what the narcissist really wants from you when you give him the silent treatment. You finally had enough. You stop responding to their messages. You cut off contact. You refuse to engage in their drama, their guilt trips, their emotional manipulation. And just like that, silence. But what you may not realize is that your silence doesn't just hurt them emotionally. It terrifies them psychologically. Because when you give a narcissist a silent treatment, you do more than walk away. You strip them of something they rely on every single day. Your attention, your energy, and your emotional reaction. In this video, we're going to uncover what a narcissist truly wants from you when you go silent, and why your silence shakes them far more than they'll ever admit. Based on real behavioral patterns observed by psychologists, we'll explore how narcissists process rejection, why they fear being ignored, and what they try to do to pull you back into their world. By the end of this, you'll understand why silence feels like punishment to a narcissist, what they really want when they come crawling back, how they try to break your silence, and most importantly, how to protect yourself when they do. Let's begin with something powerful. Your silence is the ultimate disruption. To most people, silence is peaceful. It's space. It's healing. But to a narcissist, silence is chaos because they live off reactions. They thrive on emotional engagement. Whether it's love, anger, sadness, or even confusion, they need something from you to feel in control. When you stop giving them that, you take away their oxygen, and that's when the panic sets in. First, they want validation. Even if they act indifferent at first, inside, they are scrambling. They don't care about your well-being. They care about whether you still care about them. Your silence forces them to question whether they've lost influence over you. So they test you. They reach out again. They send cryptic messages. They try to provoke a response. They aren't trying to reconnect because they miss you. They're trying to confirm that you're still emotionally available, that they can still manipulate you whenever they want. Second, they want information. Silence cuts off their access to your life. They no longer know where you are, what you're doing, or who you're with. That uncertainty makes them anxious. So they start digging. They ask mutual friends. They stalk your social media. They try to find ways to get updates through indirect channels. Why? Because knowledge gives them power. And without it, they feel powerless. Third, they want control. For so long, they dictated the rhythm of your relationship. They decided when things were good, when things were bad, and when things needed fixing. But now, you've taken that power away. You've disrupted their control. And that terrifies them. So they try to regain it. They may apologize, beg, or pretend to change, not because they've grown, but because they want things back to the way they were, where they were in charge. Fourth, they want praise. Narcissists depend on admiration to fuel their fragile ego. Even if you weren't praising them directly, your presence in their life gave them a sense of importance. Now that you're gone, they feel empty. So they come back hoping you'll offer some form of validation, even if it's just an acknowledgement that you heard them. A simple, "I see you," becomes a win for them. That's why they often try different versions of the same message, changing tone, style, or delivery until something sticks. Fifth, they want sympathy. Suddenly, they have problems. They're lonely. They made mistakes. They want you to feel sorry for them. This isn't about honesty. It's about manipulation. They're testing your empathy, trying to make you believe they've changed so you'll lower your guard. Sixth, they want forgiveness. Not because they feel remorse, but because being forgiven resets the emotional dynamic. If you forgive them, they believe they can return to the same old cycle, knowing you'll fall back into place. That's why they often frame their attempts to reconnect around redemption. Seventh, they want access to your life, to your emotions, to your schedule, anything that gives them leverage. They may not say it outright, but everything they do is aimed at reinserting themselves into your world, even if only slightly. Eighth, they want reassurance. Deep down, they know they've lost you, but they don't want to accept it. So they keep reaching out, hoping for any sign that you still care, that you're still affected by them, that you're still thinking about them. Even a small reaction, a read receipt, a brief reply, a glance at their profile, can be enough to feed their obsession for a little while longer. Ninth, they want sex. Intimacy is one of the easiest ways for them to regain emotional control. They know that physical connection blurs boundaries and weakens resolve. So they may hint at closeness, bring up past moments, or flirt subtly, all in an effort to lure you back into their web. 10th, they want money. If they once used financial dependence as a tool, they'll try again. Whether it's asking for help paying bills, requesting a loan, or making up emergencies, they'll pressure you to give them something, anything, to remind you that you still hold responsibility for them. 11th, narcissists often seek emotional support from you as a way to keep you tethered to their world. Even after you've tried to walk away, they will reach out with dramatic stories, long and emotionally charged messages, or sudden expressions of despair, all designed to pull at your empathy and make you feel responsible for their well-being. They may cry during phone calls, send pages of text detailing their latest crisis, or drop subtle hints about how much they're struggling without you. This behavior is not about genuine healing or personal growth. It's about manipulation. They know that empaths and emotionally intuitive people tend to respond to distress with compassion, so they use that against you. By making themselves appear vulnerable, they create an illusion of need, hoping you'll step into comfort, advise, or even rescue them. The more you engage, the more they continue the cycle, drawing you back into their emotional orbit where they can once again influence your thoughts and feelings. Their goal is not to solve their problems, but to keep you emotionally invested in their life. They want you to believe that they are suffering without you, that only you truly understand them, and that your presence is what they need to heal. But this is all part of the same pattern, keeping you emotionally entangled so you don't fully move on. 12th, they crave social validation, and when you begin thriving without them, it threatens their sense of superiority. Narcissists build their identity around how others perceive them, and if you're clearly doing well without their presence in your life, it undermines the belief they hold that they are irreplaceable. This deeply unsettles them because it challenges the idea that they were essential to your happiness or success. As a result, they may try to drag you back into conflict or stir up drama in an attempt to disrupt your peace. They might start arguments, bring up past grievances, or provoke emotional reactions just to remind you of their presence. In some cases, they may even go as far as publicly shaming you or spreading false narratives about your relationship in an effort to damage your reputation. These smear campaigns are not about protecting themselves. They are about controlling the narrative. They want others to see you as unstable, difficult, or emotionally volatile, while positioning themselves as a victim or the one who was misunderstood. Their motivation isn't self-defense. It's retaliation disguised as storytelling. They want to prove to others and to themselves that you're still affected by them, that you haven't truly moved on, and that your life is somehow worse because they are no longer in it. Ultimately, these tactics are meant to restore their sense of power. If they can't win you back directly, they will settle for keeping you emotionally reactive. And if they can't control your actions, they will try to control how others see you. That's why it's so important to recognize these behaviors for what they are, manipulative attempts to regain influence, not genuine cries for help or honest reflections on the past. By refusing to engage, by choosing silence over reaction, and by focusing on your own healing, you deny them the emotional fuel they desperately seek. And that, more than anything, is what weakens their hold on you forever. 13th, they seek to provoke jealousy as a way to regain emotional influence over you. It's not about genuine happiness or personal growth on their part. It's about making you question your decision to walk away. They may deliberately showcase a new partner, exaggerate their achievements, or subtly imply that life has improved dramatically since you left. These actions are carefully calculated, not spontaneous. They want you to wonder if you made the right choice, if you truly understood their value, or if you were too quick to let go. They know how deeply empaths and emotionally intuitive people feel regret and longing, and they use that against you. By creating the illusion that they're thriving, especially without you, they hope to stir up feelings of doubt, sadness, or even envy within you. Their goal isn't to celebrate their own success. It's to make you feel like you missed out, like you lost something irreplaceable. And in doing so, they attempt to reinsert themselves into your emotional world, even from a distance. 14th, they crave control over your future, even after you remove yourself from their life. That need doesn't disappear just because you've gone silent. In fact, it often intensifies. Even if you never respond to them again, they may still try to keep tabs on you, monitoring your social media, tracking your movements through mutual connections, or spreading rumors designed to damage your reputation and create confusion around you. They don't just want to know where you are and who you're with. They want to ensure that you haven't moved on in a way that makes them irrelevant. If you're happy, successful, or emotionally free, it threatens their sense of power. So they do whatever they can to stay involved, even indirectly. Whether it's subtle surveillance, manipulative storytelling, or using others to relay messages or gather information, their ultimate aim is the same: to remind you that they are still watching, still present, and still trying to hold some kind of influence over your life. And 15th, above all else, they want to win. To a narcissist, relationships aren't about love, connection, or mutual growth. They're about dominance. And when you walk away, especially without looking back, you disrupt their sense of victory. Losing you feels like a personal defeat, one they cannot easily accept. They can't tolerate the idea that you're living your life without needing or wanting them. That's why they keep trying different tactics, sometimes for months or even years. They test boundaries, send cryptic messages, pull at your emotions, and come back in different forms, all in an effort to see if something will finally work. If they can get any kind of reaction, any sign that you still care, they consider a small win. But if they fail repeatedly, they may eventually move on, not because they've accepted the loss, but because they've found someone else to fill the void you left behind. Still, even then, they don't truly let go, because in their mind, they didn't lose, you left. And that distinction fuels their obsession long after you've moved forward with your life. All of these behaviors, the manipulation, the control, the constant need for attention and validation, originate from a place of deep-rooted insecurity. This insecurity is not just about low self-esteem or occasional doubt. It's a fundamental fear of being seen as ordinary, flawed, or unimportant. Beneath their confident exterior lies an intense internal struggle, one that they spend their entire lives trying to hide, not only from others but often from themselves. Narcissists are not truly confident people. In fact, their arrogance is nothing more than a carefully constructed mask meant to cover up how fragile they really are inside. They live in constant fear of exposure, terrified that someone will finally see through their act and reveal them for who they truly are, emotionally unstable, deeply insecure, and incapable of genuine connection. That fear fuels everything they do. It drives their need to dominate conversations, relationships, and even your emotions. And when you give them the silent treatment, that fear reaches its peak because suddenly they lose the ability to manipulate, control, or predict your reactions. Without your emotional energy feeding their ego, they feel empty. Without your presence reinforcing their false image of superiority, they begin to unravel. That's why they keep trying to pull you back in, no matter how many times you walk away. Their behavior isn't about love, closure, or even attachment. It's about survival. They don't want you back because they miss you. They want you back because they miss the control they once had over you. But here's the most important truth to remember. None of this has anything to do with your worth. Not now, not ever. What the narcissist does, what they say, and how desperately they try to regain your attention. It all stems from their own inner turmoil, not from anything you did or didn't do. Their actions are not a reflection of your value, your strength, or your character. Instead, they reveal their inability to regulate their own emotions and maintain a stable sense of self-worth without external validation. Understanding this is one of the most powerful steps you can take on your healing journey. When you realize that their obsession with you isn't about admiration, but about control, that their attempts to reconnect aren't about love, but about dominance, you begin to free yourself from the emotional grip they've held over you for so long. Going no contact is one of the healthiest decisions you can make for your emotional well-being, but it's also one of the hardest, especially when they keep reaching out, testing your boundaries, or showing up unexpectedly. The temptation to respond, to explain, to set the record straight can be overwhelming. But every time you resist that urge, every time you choose silence over engagement, you reinforce your strength and reclaim your power. Knowing what they truly want from you and why they behave the way they do gives you clarity. It helps you stay grounded when they try to confuse you, stay calm when they try to provoke you, and stay strong when they try to guilt trip you into coming back. You begin to see their tactics for what they are, desperate attempts to regain control over someone who no longer plays by their rules. You deserve peace. You deserve to live without the constant emotional drain of trying to manage someone else's instability. You deserve respect from yourself and from others. And most importantly, you deserve to live a life free from manipulation, emotional games, and toxic cycles that serve only to diminish your light. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing it with someone who might benefit from hearing this truth. Healing is absolutely possible, and understanding what the narcissist really wants from you when you give him the silent treatment is one of the most important steps toward freedom. Thank you for watching.